should not be swimming in women's swimming, period, dead stop.
It's an issue with at least one complaining she has an unfair physical advantage.
Women stand up! Women stand up!
That division extended to Thursday's meet. Outside Atlanta's Macaulay Aquatic Center, a small group of supporters facing off against a handful of protesters.
What's up, YouTube? We're gonna hop straight into the video, but before we do, don't be a buster. Hit the like and subscribe button for more content, and don't forget, watch the entire video. Now, let's get right into it.
It took 4 minutes and 33 seconds for Lia Thomas to swim her way into NCAA history. With her victory in the women's 500-yard freestyle, Lia Thomas is now the first openly transgender D1 athlete to become an NCAA national champion. After spending 3 years on the men's team, the University of Pennsylvania swimmer surpassed the NCAA requirement to compete on the women's team, 12 months of hormone replacement therapy. Still, her standout season has ushered in a wave of scrutiny, splitting her teammates, some writing public letters of support and others anonymously speaking out against Thomas, with at least one complaining she has an unfair physical advantage.
Women stand up! Women stand up!
That division extended to Thursday's meet. Outside Atlanta's Macaulay Aquatic Center, a small group of supporters facing off against a handful of protesters.
Lia Thomas should not be swimming in women's swimming, period, dead stop.
It's an issue that has reached beyond the pool to politics. Within the last 2 years, 11 Republican-led state legislatures have passed bills preventing transgender kids in K-12 schools from competing on teams that match their gender identity. Other states are considering similar legislation, including Georgia, where Thomas made history and tonight will compete to do it again.
I want to make something perfectly clear. I don't care if a person wants to transition from a man to a woman to a man, or if they just want to go out, buy a giant tortilla and wrap themselves up and call themselves a Chipotle burrito. It doesn't make me any difference. It doesn't affect my personal life. But where I have a major point of contention is when naturally born males can enter female competitions and dominate them. It is no coincidence that Lisa in the male circuit was ranked, I believe, 462, came over to the female side and absolutely dominated everyone involved. And there are people out there that will debate that it is fair because it's inclusive. She identifies as a woman, thus it is a fair competition. If that was the case, we wouldn't have a division between male and female in the first place. If that was the case, we wouldn't even have different levels to sports. We'll be throwing little league football players against players in the NFL and calling it a fair competition. So that's a pretty weak argument. At the end of the day, this person went through puberty as a male, thus giving a completely different structure than what most, if not all, females will have from a competitive standpoint, and also have stronger, more filled out muscles from all the additional testosterone. It doesn't matter if you've gone through hormone therapy, you still have remnants superiority when it comes to athletical perspective. So those people that say being inclusive is fair, sports in general doesn't even operate at that level, regardless of gender, regardless if we're talking specifically just male and females, and we don't have this particular scenario because there are divisions within sports themselves. MMA, boxing, they have different weight classes for a reason because these are competitive advantages. And one small little tweak, especially at the highest level, can make the difference. Once again, Lia was ranked 462 in the male side. Up over to the female, ranked number 1. And the advantage is the fact that Lia was able to go through puberty as a male, get the advantages when it comes to bone density, structure, the testosterone, the strength that provides. It's not rocket science.
There's a man called Will Thomas who's changed his name to Lia Thomas, who is competing in women's swimming. And the reason these women are here is because it is absolutely disgusting that he is allowed to compete in any women's races or participate in any women's sport.
If we're not here showing that tech can actually be an inclusive, supportive space, what is that showing to like the national community? What is it showing to like future students?
There is absolutely no feasible way that a man competing in a women's swimming race is fair or just. There is every feasible way that it is an act of grave cowardice by the NCAA.
The issue here is that they're so frequently using these save women's sports as dog whistles for transphobia, right? And so they like have these like simple message and talk about fairness and competition, but like competition and fairness are not actually necessarily part of I mean, sports are competitive, right? There's differences in like people.
This is a male displacing women. The female who came in second today is the winner. This is a women's Division I swimming and diving championship. Only women can win a women's swimming and diving championship. She's the real winner today.
Women aren't considered full humans. We can't be, otherwise there wouldn't be an opportunity for men to compete in women's sports with almost like he's brave and stunning when actually he's just a cheat.
They're breaking no rules, right? And they're having to compete in this elite level with the stress of knowing that this is happening outside. And we just want to let them know that we actually really support them. We support Lia and Isaac. And like, this is what tech is. That's not what tech is. Tech is not about saying we're going to exclude people from having this access to athletics.
Overwhelmingly, it has been gratitude from the female athletes walking out, as well as many parents and bystanders thanking us, high-fiving us.
It's been
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and give my final thoughts. First things first, it's Leanne, not Lisa. That's my bad. But what we're seeing here is a lot more alarming than we might think. Reason being is that we're seeing institutions feeling the social pressure to be woke, to be inclusive, to consider everybody's feelings, that we're just flat out ignoring science as a whole. I believe it goes without saying that we're not in a society that's transitioning into valuing feelings over facts. We're already there, and it's a complete you-know-what show. In the second clip that I played, the individual that's for Leanne didn't have any key valid points about the competitive advantage. All that person said was that sports are competitive. Everybody knows that. And the biggest losers, the biggest victims in this is going to be women. But ironically enough, it's womanism that pushed this type of culture. It's womanism that pushed basically having financial opportunities taken away from women. They have pushed in the agenda and the message of being inclusive, taking away something as simple as scholarships away from naturally born women. Now, I know myself and many men like myself and across the world would like to stand up and fight for you, but this is literally what you're asking for. So now we're at the point where we're not even asking, where do we draw the line? The line is just constantly being pushed further and further and further because we don't have any clear-cut boundaries and sets of rules anymore that people are willing to follow. And this is a problem because right now we're talking about sports, but what about if we get into a more serious subject that has even bigger consequences than this one? If you believe I'm being ridiculous, hateful, biased, etc., let me ask you this question. Why haven't we had any stories of a trans man going into high-level male competitions and completely blowing away the competition? Something to think about. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the video. Let me know what you think at the comment section below. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.